Nobody's buying Toronto condos anymore. And before I get into it, this isn't going to be another video about what's going on with the Bank of Canada and how falling interest rates are changing the market. I do post videos about this topic once in a while, and I do them to keep you informed so that you stay updated with what's happening from the perspective of the overall Canadian housing market. But just to let you know, there will be an announcement coming out in a couple of weeks from the central bank on September 4th. So if you are curious about it, look out for that episode on my channel in a couple of weeks. This video is focused on what's happening with condos in Toronto. I'll tell you what direction the Toronto condo market is likely to be headed for the rest of this year and the next year. I get asked sometimes, why am I so interested in Toronto condos? It's not that I'm only focused on them or that I only work exclusively with Toronto condo buyers and sellers. It's because the reality is that a large population of Canadians and permanent residents are in the market to buy real estate, and a large portion of them are looking to buy a condo, apartment, or townhouse. So the goal here is to provide more information to them. There's even a correlation between the condo market that extends to the freehold market, like detached homes or even freehold townhouses. What are condos? I'll tell you in 20 seconds. It refers to the type of land ownership. The land is collectively owned by the owners within the complex. There are common areas and shared spaces. A condo fee gets paid monthly by owners that pays for things like property maintenance and security. A condo board manages the corporation, and the owners vote on decisions that affect the property. Condos are usually more affordable compared to freehold properties. Okay, so now what's freehold ownership? You own the land and the structure that sits on the land. You have more control with what you can do. There are no maintenance fees in most cases because you maintain the property yourself. And because of that, freehold properties are usually more expensive, which is why condos are much more popular and also why we have so many of them. Don't be surprised, but not everyone can afford the average price of $1.1 million in Toronto. A condo in the city has an average price of $729,000. That's a lot cheaper and more affordable. The biggest question is whether or not the $729,000 is still a good deal. How do we know? I'll tell you. Right now it's taking 25 days for a condo to sell in Toronto. This is known as the days on market, which is the difference between the first day when a listing hits the market to the day it eventually gets sold to a buyer. So it's taking about 25 days on average in today's market for a buyer to purchase a condo for sale. But this information without context doesn't exactly tell you much when we're trying to understand the current condo market. So let's go back a bit. The same time last year, it was taking 22 days on average for a condo to sell. Not a big difference, 3 weeks on average. It was a slow market, kind of like today, and we're still trying to get out of. In a hot market like we saw in 2021 or even 2017, the average days on market was between 19 to 21 days. Lower than the 25 days we're seeing now, but in the end, not a huge difference. In those days, people could be doing their inspections, getting their lawyers to review condominium documents, or they're getting their finances in order before they firm up a deal. And in today's market, buyers have that leverage. They can include all kinds of conditions, so if you're in the market to buy a home, you actually don't have to feel like you're going to be forced to remove a condition just to buy your next home. Protecting yourself in what could be one of the largest financial decisions you ever make is probably a good idea. Conditions in the offer are there to protect buyers. If a seller accepts an offer that has conditions, they need to be fulfilled or waived before the deal can actually firm up for the property to be considered sold. If both parties cannot agree on fulfilling or waiving all conditions, then the deal falls through. This can leave a sour taste for the seller because now they have to go through the entire process again of finding a qualified buyer, and this is pretty common with slower condo markets like the one that we're in today. As for the buyer, they lose out on the deal too, but the good news is that there's a lot of choice. Yep, I'm referring to Condo Supply. A year ago, when the bank was still holding the interest rate and no one really knew the direction the market was headed for, supply was more constrained. There were 4,500 active condo listings in Toronto last summer. Today, there are 6,200 active condo listings. That's a 38% increase in supply in just 1 year. Increasing supply should be able to help buyers to create a buyer's market. Take it back even further to 2021, it was a hot market. During that summer, there were only 2,900 active condo listings. Compared to the current market, that's a 214% increase in supply. Makes sense. Hot market, low supply. Cold market, too much supply. And the trend right now is that supply is still increasing. There are reasons why condo supply is still going up. We're still in a slow real estate market. Demand is low. Buyers are not buying for obvious reasons. High interest rates making it hard to get approved for a loan. Pre-construction condos are being sold at a loss through assignment sales. All of the above leaves the market oversaturated with condos, leading to an increase in supply, which is so funny because we need supply to lower prices, which isn't even happening right now. Prices are still pretty much high considering everything that's been happening with the economy and and rising interest rates over the last few years. In 2021, during Toronto's most recent hot real estate market, the average condo price was $690,000, which was up 10% from the year before. Inventory was low in 2021, and so believe it or not, that average price was actually quite high for that specific time period. Fast forward a year later to 2022, when the bank started to increase the key interest rate, the average price had already gone up to $720,000. The average price came down only 1% to $716,000. That's hardly a difference after years of attempting to make adjustments to the overall housing market due to inflation. And today, the average condo price in Toronto is still higher at $729,000. How does any of this make any sense? Why are prices still higher than what they were 3 years ago? Interest rates went up. We literally went through almost 2.5 years of market correction with rising interest rates that should have slowed down the market and bring down home prices. People talk about resiliency of the Toronto property market. So is this what's going on here? Are people really that interested in Toronto's real estate and that's what's keeping prices up? If that's the case, then here's something you need to realize. Prices will go up. Prices are going to go up. With interest rates coming down, it's only a matter of time before buyers re-enter the market, like they're already doing. Once the existing inventory gets scooped up, I really don't think supply is going to keep up with the amount of buyer interest that still exists in the Toronto property market. In a normal real estate market, there are always more buyers than the amount of supply available. That's still true right now, despite being a slower market. The difference in today's market is that buyers now have choice. We have a ton of supply, but the problem is that the rates are still relatively high, but that's also changing. Here's another reason why supply will continue to be constrained. There's speculation that pre-construction condo inventory will flood the market. I believe this is true. However, pre-construction condos make up for a large portion of the supply available in Toronto's housing market. Right now, there's definitely a lot of condo assignment sales happening, and many of them are going for less than the original purchase price. That's what's happening with existing pre-construction condo inventory. New pre-construction condos are dead. Sales have never been this slow since the 90s. Developers can't begin construction because they're not able to sell out at least 70% of their projects. They can't lower prices either because it's not like construction costs are coming down. Instead, construction costs have doubled in the last few years. The impact of a slower economy to new construction is going to have a residual impact on the resale market that will drive home prices up due to the lack of supply. This is also assuming that population growth will continue to rise, which it seems like it will. There are only 4 months left before the end of this year, so I don't expect much to change. The biggest change to the Toronto condo market will likely come in spring next year. I think that time period will be a huge test to see what direction the condo market will be going. And by then, we'll likely see the Bank of Canada make 3 more announcements to the key interest rate and likely more decisions to take place in the new year. But right now, don't expect Toronto condo prices to skyrocket just because 2 rate drops of 25 basis points each took place in the last 2 months. The impact of those rate drops take time, which I'll talk about more in the next episode, which you can watch in a couple of weeks. If you're new here, subscribe and follow for the updates. New episodes are coming out all the time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.